Hey, are you thinking about building a brand new house in Manitoba, but you're not exactly sure where to start or how this whole home building process works? Should you find and buy the land first, or should you find a builder first, or should you just build in a brand new development where that builder already owns the lot? And how does it all work with financing? These are some of the most common questions that home buyers have when they're thinking about building a brand new home. And in this video, I'm going to go through all the options, all the scenarios, provide pros and cons of each, and give my honest opinion based on my experience in the industry. And if you see value in these videos and the content that I put out, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, it helps with my business, and it's very much appreciated. Also, if you're looking to build, buy, or sell anywhere in Winnipeg, Manitoba, or the surrounding areas, or if you just have general real estate questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me anytime. My contact info is in the description below, and it would be an absolute honor and privilege to earn your trust in business in the future. Now, without further ado, let's get to the video. So you're thinking about building a brand new home, but you're not exactly sure on how you should go about it. Building brand new can be a great option, and it can be a phenomenal investment, but there are many moving parts when it comes to building a brand new house. Helping builders sell or pre-sell their new homes and helping purchasers through this new home process are some of my specialties as a realtor in Manitoba. And from my experience in selling new homes, I can tell you that there are really only 3 options or ways about getting a home built. And each of these options is going to solely depend on key factors such as your personal and financial situation, so what you're willing to do and what you can afford to do, and if you require financing, what the bank or credit union will qualify you for. Every lender is so different and they have their own set of policies when it comes to mortgages and new home construction. So then what are your options when it comes to building brand new? Option number 1 is to find and purchase the land first and then hire the builder. I get calls all the time from people who have the ability to purchase land and they want something very specific, whether that's a city lot in a mature area, commonly referred to as infill development, a lot in a small town just outside of the city, or a rural property with some acreage. We love helping people find their perfect lot and then pointing them in the right direction to a builder that can match the vision of what they're looking to build and ultimately meet their budget and their timeline. Now, some of the pros of buying the land first is that you can find the perfect property and you don't have to necessarily settle on the location or the amenities when it comes time to build. An example of this is that we have people who are very specific about their needs. They want to live in the bush with a ton of trees, or they're specific about the municipality for their kids' school, or they're specific about the lot size, or they want a certain type of septic system, well water versus town water, and the list goes on and on. Another pro about purchasing the land first is that you can really take your time to find the right builder. And I suggest meeting and interviewing a few different builders first to see how they operate their business, and also if they can get the project done according to your plans, ideas, budget, and time frame. Another thing to consider is that when you buy the land first, you're going to pay way less in land transfer tax than if you would if you bought a house that was already built there. Because the land transfer tax that's calculated and payable on closing is based on the total purchase price of the property when the title of that property transfers. So if it's just land value on closing, the land transfer tax will be a heck of a lot less. This is obviously another huge pro. Now, some of the cons with doing it this way is that you will likely need a little bit more capital up front. Some banks or credit unions will mortgage land, but it's not as common as people think. Most lenders will lend the money to purchase the land through a loan or a line of credit, which may come with a higher rate of interest. I always recommend chatting with a few lenders to see what can be done, as banks and credit unions have different policies altogether. We do have a lot of clients who choose to pay cash for the land instead of jumping through hoops to try to borrow money from the bank. When it comes time to hire a builder, you're likely going to have to agree to do a construction or draw mortgage, where the builder receives draw payments as per a schedule that is agreed upon in advance by the lender. Once the builder completes a specific stage of construction, they'll call the lawyer or the bank directly for a draw. This will likely require appraisals or progress inspections that you will have to pay for along the way, along with some extra legal fees if the funds are being transferred through the lawyers. Construction mortgages usually also come with a much higher rate of interest as those draws are being released. But once you take possession of the home, the lender will typically roll this construction mortgage into a normal conventional mortgage at the posted rate. You'll be paying higher interest throughout the construction, but by doing it this way, the hope is that the savings on the land transfer tax will help to offset some of these extra costs. Now, I know that some builders will also offer incentives or money off of the total purchase price to help offset some of these interest costs and fees, as they aren't having to go to their own bank to get a loan or a mortgage and then paying interest through their construction, because you're paying the interest on the draws along the way. Now let's get into the second and honestly most common option for building a home, and that is building with a builder that already owns the lot. The reason why this option is the most popular is because it's the easiest and most affordable option to qualify for if you require conventional financing. And that's honestly the biggest pro. Most builders that already own the land will simply require a deposit up front. The amount of that deposit varies from builder to builder and project to project, but once you satisfy the conditions in your contract and give the deposit, the builder will then take the house all the way to completion, and then you'll just be responsible for paying the typical closing costs and land transfer tax to the lawyer, the same as purchasing a used home. Another pro with building a home on a lot that the builder already owns is that there should be less surprises when it comes to extra hidden costs associated with the land and the build. For example, if you're building a home in a brand new development, it's likely that the builder knows exactly how much the cost will be for servicing, connecting to sewer and water, hydro, gas, costs for the driveway, etc. The costs are streamlined in a way, whereas if you were to hire a builder to build on a property that you've already purchased, there may be extra costs associated with these items that builders will try to budget for, but if they have to go over budget, then you are the one who has to be on the hook for these extra costs. Now, a con with building on a lot where the builder already owns it is you may have less say on customization of the house plan and materials, especially if the builder already has a plan in production for that specific lot. And if the home is in a brand new development, then it's likely that the land developer will have architectural controls in place, which ultimately dictate what the house has to look like, the style, minimum square footage, types of materials used on the exterior of the home, so on and so forth. Another con about building a home in a brand new development could be that there will be extra costs associated with things like planting trees and doing your landscaping, as most builders won't do these types of things. And in new developments, they're not really mature enough to offer green space right away or trees right away. So unless the builder is building on a lot that they own in a mature area, that would be the only exception to that. Now, from an investment side of things, choosing to build a home in a phased development that is desirable can be a great investment long term. The reason for this is because the land developer will only release a certain amount of lots in a given phase of that development. And usually they base the amount of lots to be released on demand that the builders have for their houses and demand for the development. The developer will sell all of their lots at one time to a builder pool, and then they won't release the next phase until a significant percentage of those lots have been built on. From my experience, the developer will then increase land prices in each consecutive phase of the development due to things like rising servicing costs and the sheer demand for wanting to build in that development. People see things going on and they just want to get in on the action. If you choose to build a home in an earlier phase, by the time they get to the later phases, these lots will be more expensive, and then you can reap the benefits of the increased value and equity in your home just by owning it. If your land was valued at, say, $125,000 when you built, and in 2 years from now the lots were to go up to $150,000, that's $25,000 in free equity in your home. You can then leverage that equity through a home equity line of credit and use that to do all of your landscaping or whatever you'd like. This is another pretty big pro by going this route. Now, we went through option 1 and 2, but there is a third option. And the third option for getting a home built is kind of like a hybrid or best of both worlds of the first two options. And that is to find a lot and then find a builder to purchase that lot as part of a build contract. So how does that all work? Well, instead of purchasers having to purchase the lot outright and then qualify for a construction mortgage, the purchasers will agree to have the builder purchase the lot for them and then build the home to completion. This usually comes with a larger deposit or down payment up front, but this is a huge pro because purchasers only have to put up their deposit up front on the total purchase price instead of paying interest and appraisal fees along the way. Now, while this option is rare, I personally have a ton of experience with this option as we help people around Manitoba do this quite a bit. Now, this option will require finding the right builder to work with you to finance the land and the entire project until completion. And it requires that we do all of our due diligence up front so that we know all of the costs that will be associated with the servicing of that property. This option is usually common for people who want to build in some of the rural towns or communities outside of the city or in some of the smaller subdivisions. The reason for this is because most of the larger land developers in Winnipeg, they pre-sell all of their lots in the new developments to their own pool of builders, and they don't want outside builders coming in and just purchasing one lot for one customer and doing a one-off build in their development. So there we have it, the 3 options for building. If you're thinking about building a home or making a move in Manitoba, please give me a shout anytime. I'd be more than happy to walk you through these options in more detail to see which one would work best for you and your family. I specialize in new home construction and new developments, and I've got a ton of experience in this part of the industry. My name is James Boschman. I'm a realtor with the Boschman team and eXp Realty. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care.